Hello and welcome to Your Government in Action, a presentation of Bahamas Information Services. I'm Carissa Williamson. A significant milestone was made in the development of bilateral relations between the governments of the Bahamas and the People's Republic of China with the signing of the Sister Province Island Relationship Agreement. The signing of the agreement between Grand Bahama Island and Hunan Province took place at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs on April 23, 2024.
In August 2022, a hybrid joint signing ceremony was held at the Office of the Prime Minister for a letter of intent to establish a sister island province agreement between Grand Bahama and Hunan Province. For the 50th anniversary of our nation, we were pleased to have the Hunan acrobatic troupe perform on both Grand Bahama Island and New Providence. And today we are witnessing history. This is an exciting day for Grand Bahama Island, but most importantly, it will yield tangible opportunities for the people of Grand Bahama and the Bahamas. I'm confident that an exchange of knowledge, ideas, and culture will happen between the residents of Hunan Province and Grand Bahama. There's potential for robust trade in various sectors, opportunities for tourism promotion and intercultural appreciation, exchanges to support performing arts programs on our island, fostering growth within the orange economy, and tapping into China's innovation, technology, and vast expertise. Today's formal signing aligns with the mission of Sister Cities International to promote peace through mutual respect, understanding, and cooperation, one individual, one community at a time. As the Minister for Grand Bahama and the Bahamas and Caribbean representative for Sister Cities International, I am proud to be a part of the establishment of a province-island relationship between Hunan Province and Grand Bahama Island. Through collaborative programs and initiatives, this connection will support the government's vision to diversify Grand Bahama's economy to become the home of maritime and logistics, home of events and entertainment, and home of innovation. Your visit, Your Excellency, stands as a testament to the ongoing efforts of the government of the Bahamas to foster and nurture relationships with other countries. In addition to the signing of this agreement, I look forward to Grand Bahama residents benefiting from the signing of a cooperation MOU between Central South University and the University of the Bahamas, which will expand educational and technical cooperation between the two universities. With Grand Bahama being the home of the University of the Bahamas Northern Campus and the signing of the handover certificate for the donation of agricultural machinery to the Ministry of Agriculture, which will contribute to the advancement of the government's agenda to achieve food security. To the Governor of Hunan Province, China, His Excellency Mao Wiming, and his delegation, on behalf of the people of Grand Bahama and the entire Commonwealth of the Bahamas, thank you. Together, we will learn from one another, perhaps through cultural exchanges, education programs, and trade and investment opportunities. The possibilities are endless. I look forward to engaging with you further, and at another time, in the not-so-distant future, we hope you can visit our beautiful island of Grand Bahama.
With the goal of boosting the modernization in the agricultural sector of the Bahamas, the Embassy of China donated 2 tractors and 2 tillers to the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources. The donation ceremony took place at the Gladstone Road Agriculture Center on April 24, 2024.
I am incredibly honored to be here with you today to express my heartfelt gratitude for this generous donation of tractors and agricultural machinery from the Embassy of China, which together are valued at more than $50,000. These contributions will undoubtedly have a profound impact on our agricultural sector and pave the way for a more sustainable and prosperous future. These tractors will greatly assist our land cultivating processes, increase productivity, and improve efficiency in our farming practices for lands in both New Providence and Grand Bahama. With access to this state-of-the-art machinery, our farmers will be able to enhance their output, reduce manual labor, and ultimately boost their livelihoods. And I think it is important to note at this juncture that they are fully air conditioned. Furthermore, the technical assistance that has been offered by the Chinese here at the Gladstone Road Agricultural Center has showcased cutting-edge agricultural techniques. And I am sure that this program will continue to yield positive results, such as what is being demonstrated in the bounty displayed this morning. This invaluable support will assist in empowering us to overcome challenges, seize opportunities, and achieve new heights of success in our agricultural endeavors. In closing, I would like to extend my deepest appreciation to the Embassy of China for their unwavering commitment to strengthening and uplifting our agricultural sector. Together, we can forge lasting partnerships, drive sustainable development, and build a brighter future for all.
More of your government in action when we return. Welcome back. The United Nations Women Multi-Country Office Caribbean and the International Narcotics and Law Enforcement Affairs Unit in the U.S. Embassy in Nassau launched a program designed to improve the response to victims and survivors of violence and youth crime in the Bahamas. The event took place at the Courtyard Marriott on April 18, 2024, where Minister of National Security, the Honorable Wayne Monroe, brought remarks and expressed the importance of such an initiative.
But gender-based violence is, for the consideration of my ministry, a crime. It is a matter that the Ministry of National Security is concerned with the safety and security of all citizens of the Bahamas. At the event at the IDB, I pointed out that over 52% of the citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas are females. And so the ministry, its agencies, particularly the Royal Bahamas Police Force, will have a natural concern about crime that affects 52% of the population. Having received the results of the well-being survey conducted under the Citizen Security and Justice Program, the facts are there for all to see. The facts of what is happening in this country. The Royal Bahamas Police Force keeps statistics. In this regard, it may seem antithetical to our position, but on this class of offenses, we really cannot rely on the statistics kept by the Royal Bahamas Police Force, who only report offenses reported to it, as opposed to offenses committed. It is our hope that this program will help bring to the fore and help to shine a bright light on the true level of offenses committed in this country. You see, if I were a preacher, I would say that we couldn't get forgiveness until we repent. So perpetrators remain unknown to our system, unaccountable to our system. They cannot be addressed. If victims remain silent, they cannot be helped. And so I'm encouraged that my briefing tells me that the first phase of this program is directed towards addressing victims and helping them in understanding what is happening and coming forward. I would say now that success of this initiative is likely to cause an increase in the crime statistics in this country with regard to gender-based violence, as victims who were previously silent come forward. I trust that we prepare ourselves for that eventuality. I'm also happy and heartened to see that this program intends to address the court system and how it responds to what will be, if component one is successful, an increased burden on it. I'm also heartened to see that it also reflects on the perpetrator at the end of the process. As the Minister of National Security, I often remind the public that over 98% of persons committed to the correctional facility will be released back into the community. Gender-based violence, a lot of it happening in a family context, involve persons who will be in relationships until their children die. That is the reality of the family context in any country. And so it is important that we focus on the proper rehabilitation of persons whose behavior need to be corrected. We at the ministry are grateful for the assistance. It is assistance that will help us in making use of the material exposed to us by the IDB study. And so we are grateful to UN Women and grateful as always to our partners at the US Embassy. But before I sit, can I just advance one thing for consideration? And it's based really on what Minister LaRoda, Minister Martin, and I observed at the Simpson Penn School for Boys and the William A. Pratt School for Girls. As many of the perpetrators of gender-based violence are males, attention must be paid on males at risk, young men at risk in how they are being socialized. It is my regret to advise that if one looks at the facility at the Simpson Penn School for Boys and compare them to the William A. Pratt School for Girls, it is a harbinger of concern for what is to become of the young men who are already at risk, who would have been committed to that school. We must be concerned that a youth at risk is sent to a facility that is not conducive to changing his mindset, does not have surroundings that increase his sense of value. And comparatively, we have to concern ourselves on whether that gender discrimination between provision in William A. Pratt as opposed to Simpson Penn How that will impact the mindset of who, as the studies show us, is the main perpetrators of gender-based violence. So we're grateful for this assistance in the areas that relate to addressing the circumstances after an offense is committed. We look forward to partnering on efforts that go towards the first pillar in our crime strategy, which is prevention. Properly socialized young men, properly socialized citizens, and would not exercise violence against another citizen.
I would like to begin by recognizing the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas' leadership and vision by embracing the GBV Justice Program and extending its reach to some of the Bahamas' more vulnerable populations. Servicing the totality of the Bahamian society, including its marginalized populations, demonstrates your strong commitment to an inclusive society. The United States is a proud partner with you in this endeavor. The Biden-Harris administration released in 2021 its first ever national strategy on gender equity and equality in 2021. This strategy is a roadmap to closely gap the pernicious problems between promoting society and the gender gaps with equal opportunities for all people. One of the key pillars of this strategy is combating gender-based violence. I believe we can all agree that people deserve to live free from the threat of gender-based violence. It undermines safety, health, well-being, economic potential, and human rights. In addition to the human cost to individuals across their lifespan, GBV has direct and indirect costs for families, communities, economies. It impacts democratic governance, development, and public health. In support of this shared vision, the GBV Justice Program will work to enhance Bahamian capacities to prevent and respond to gender-based violence and other crimes experienced by women, girls, and youth. The GBV Justice Program will support gender equality and empower women and girls to help end discrimination against them, eliminate all forms of violence against women and girls in public and private spheres, including trafficking and sexual exploitation, and address benign manipulation of Bahamian youth that results in their recruitment by criminal gangs. The problem doesn't just focus on the victim. It also includes a pilot program that will promote rehabilitation for GBV perpetrators. It looks to break the vicious cycle of recidivism that characterizes GBV. To achieve these ends, the GBV Justice Program is to adopt and strengthen sound policies and enforceable legislation. These are very ambitious objectives, as is usually the case when INL gets involved in something. They're not easily achieved overnight, nor by any individual agency. The national strategy in the United States encompasses a whole of government approach, as well as the incorporation of civil society. It takes a village, as one famous First Lady American once said, and this is no different. Success will require a whole of government response, and we're grateful for the presence of many Bahamian government agencies here today. Bahamian civil society will also play a critical role in achieving success of this program. They'll be extensively engaged throughout the program, given their important contributions to combating GBV. Fortunately, we also have a valued implementing partner in the UN Women to help guide us throughout this journey. The UN Women is a recognized leader in gender transformative programming, gender-based violence prevention and response, and has a strong track record of supporting gender-responsive policing and judicial administration across the region. This week, UN Women representatives will meet with various agencies and ministries, including the Ministry of National Security, the Royal Bahamas Police Force, the Judiciary of the Bahamas, the Ministry of Social Services, and its Department of Gender and Family Affairs, along with several civil society organizations. They will conduct initial assessments to familiarize themselves with your great work in combating GBV and to chart a collective approach to ensure GBV Justice Program success. The United States is proud to support the Bahamas through this transformative program, and we look forward to the positive change it will bring to the Bahamas. Thank you.
The 2024 hurricane season is fast approaching, and to bring awareness to the upcoming season, the United States Air Force chose the Bahamas to be the first stop of a tour of Caribbean countries to be visited by the Hurricane Reconnaissance Aircraft, or Hurricane Hunter. The aircraft arrived at Odyssey Aviation on April 16, 2024.
The Hurricane Hunter. This is an aircraft that actually, as you know, would fly through hurricanes. The work that is done on this aircraft is very important to us as meteorologists to know exactly what's going on with hurricanes as they move through our waters. These aircrafts actually fly into the center of the hurricanes. They assist us in terms of locating the center of our hurricanes and giving us a good indication of how hurricanes are moving so that we can then share the information, prepare our forecasts, and share it with the public so that you guys can be aware and on alert for what's going on whenever a hurricane is threatening us. Overall, this aircraft is really piloted by the U.S. Air Force. As you can see, this is a U.S. Air Force C-130 aircraft. So we have people from the Air Force here, the National Hurricane Center, and also from the National Weather Service of the United States.
This is the time to start your preparations, get ready for the upcoming season, make sure you know what your hurricane plan is going to be, get your supplies ready, find your trusted sources of information like our great partners like Jeffrey at the Department of Meteorology here in the Bahamas. And you know, it's that partnership is so important because we at the Hurricane Center are following every storm across the Atlantic Basin all throughout hurricane season, and then providing that information to Jeffrey and his team at the Department of Meteorology here in the Bahamas to really provide that local impact information about the storm surge, about the winds, about the heavy rainfall to the citizens here in the Bahamas. And we have the C-130 Hurricane Hunter aircraft here behind me today, and I want to emphasize the importance of the data that those aircraft collect. That data goes directly to us at the National Hurricane Center. It's also shared with Jeffrey and his team, and they're telling us exactly where the storm is located, how strong it is, how big it is, how big is that hurricane force and tropical storm force wind field, how is that going to tie into how much storm surge or how much rainfall there's going to be. And those data go into the forecast models that we use to make track and intensity forecasts for the hurricanes, and they make those forecasts 10 to 20% better. So it's really a credit to the brave men and women of the Air Force Reserve and of the NOAA Aircraft Operations Center who fly directly into and around those storms and gather that critical data.
First thing is the Hurricane Center does, they officially task us with a latitude and longitude and a date and time, and then we will send out a crew in an airplane to investigate to see whether or not there's actually a storm that's forming. And what we're looking in that instance is for winds and 4 directional different winds to say there's actually a circulation. If there is something, then we will go into the next part of our mission, which is called the fix. And if we can't find an actual circulation, sometimes we'll stay out there to see if something was to build, to see how large that wind radius actually extends in case something does form overnight. Our fixed mission is kind of what we're the most known for, which is where we actually fly an X pattern through the storm, and we do that in order to sample the winds in every quadrant. So as many of us who have been in the storm's path before, we know there can sometimes be a large difference between, say, the northeast and southwest side. So we're doing that, and the whole time we're collecting weather data. We collect high-density observations. Those are automated. We collect them every 30 seconds, and then we send them out to the world in 10-minute packages, and you can actually track us that way. And that is horizontal data, so it's data from the airplane. And then we also drop dropsons, and they're dropped by my partner over there, and the dropson will be released from the airplane, go down to the sea surface, and it creates a vertical profile of the atmosphere. So that includes like temperature, dew point, wind speed, wind direction, and pressure. And that data, the dropson, is very important, and it is sent directly and ingested into some of the numerical models. Those numerical models, of course, are used by the forecasters to make a better forecast both directionally and for the intensity. And our primary job as a weather officer on board is to quality control that data that we're releasing, but also to use that data to direct the pilots up front as to exactly where to go, because our main goal is to find that exact center of the storm. And so once we do find that exact center, we actually formulate another message called the Vortex Data Message, which is also sent out to the public almost immediately. And the Hurricane Center also uses that in their forecast discussions and in their forecasts.
In celebration of Earth Day, Mrs. Anne Marie Davis of the Office of the Spouse of the Prime Minister planted a breadfruit tree at the Clifton National Heritage Park on April 22, 2024. Mrs. Davis expressed the importance of planting trees that feed and its impact on climate change.
I wanted to plant a tree today, but not just any tree, a tree that feeds. And I wanted to put it in a spot here at Clifton Heritage Park, because it's a heritage park and the breadfruit tree is part of our heritage. Captain Bligh brought it here from 1791, and so it is part of who we are here in this Caribbean region. And I wanted to put it here in this park for accessibility, because it's the kind of tree that anyone would want to feed from, have food from. It's the tree that feeds, and it doesn't have to be difficult to access. Anyone who needs some food for them and their families could access the tree. So this is the perfect spot for it, I think, in the Heritage Park, because it signifies part of the heritage of us, and it's the tree that feeds. So we could plant any tree today. Today's tree planting day, but for me, it's a tree that feeds. It's the most important tree to plant. Everyone plant a tree, plant a mangrove tree even. Go in the mangrove soil, go into the bonefish parks, yes, and plant mangrove. Not just tree in the earth, but mangroves in the sea as well, because we need the earth, we need the soil to stay together. We have to protect our land, our sea parks, all our ecosystems, all the way through. And just plant something, even if it's a flowering tree, but especially a tree that feeds, because we have to feed ourselves. It's something that is the only one thing that we have to do every 3 or 4 hours is eat. So we have to have trees that feed. It's the tree that's the most resilient, and it has been proven to be the tree of the future because of the viciousness of the storms that are coming more and more. They're just wiping out everything. The breadfruit tree has been proven to be the most resilient tree anywhere in this tropical region, and it's been proven in East Grand Bahama during Dorian, when the entire earth in Grand Bahama was covered with salt water. When the salt water receded, the only tree that was still standing was the breadfruit tree. So it's already proven that it can survive floods, hurricane winds at 200 miles per hour plus. It can survive drought conditions. It's just the most amazing tree that there is. And everywhere around the world, in the tropical areas, this is the tree that's being planted. It's everywhere throughout the West Indies. It's in Samoa. It's in even Hawaii. They call it the ulu, even though they're not in the tropical region. But everywhere, if you check around the world in this type of climate, in the tropical area, the breadfruit tree is what everyone is planting. So we have to get our act together here too.
I'm Carissa Williamson, and this has been Your Government in Action, a proud presentation of Bahamas Information Services. Join us on Tuesday evenings, where we bring you highlights, coverage, and information as we continue to do what we do best, linking people and government.